Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And what I'm going to bring you here and now is somewhat surprising. The story itself is something I think we can all agree with, or generally, I think. It's the source which I think is going to cause a lot of astonishment. Because the headline that I'm going to bring you says, "A new Broom, not more continuity," is what the SNP need right now. And we're going to go in and have a look at this story. But when they're talking about a new broom, my immediate thought was Trigger's broom. And that is to say it's had 5 new handles and 6 new heads. And that's exactly what's happening with the SNP. Every now and again they'll change the handle. Every now and again they'll change the head. But it's still the same broom. There's nothing new. They keep going continuity, continuity, continuity. As though continuity is good. As though adopting the failures of the past and presenting them in a new light is something that will encourage people to do better. And it won't. It merely highlights all the failures. And that's what Swinney represents. A whole continuation of failure. But we'll take a look at this and this new Broom headline, because it's quite astonishing when you see where it's coming from. Now, as you see, this is from The National. Now, I'm pretty sure none of you actually are willing to pay the subscription fee to get behind the paywall to read anything in The National. I can't say as I blame you, because most of it's rubbish. But when you're presented with this headline, "A new broom, not more continuity," is what the SNP need right now. And this is published in The National. You're like, are you kidding me? They are the mouthpiece of the SNP. They are. This is Pravda. It's stunning, isn't it? Anyway, the efforts of the SNP establishment to slot John Swinney into the head political job in Scotland shows what little they have learnt from recent events. Are they even capable of learning? The continuity crowd, currently in charge of the SNP, have done nothing to progress independence. A clear out of the SNP headquarters is clearly desirable, as the present lot only want to continue the existence of political situation of independence if now purely a vote gatherer, rather than advancing the founding objective of the same party. So what they're saying is that the SNP at the moment are simply a party that likes to, how can we put it, talk the talk. It wants to talk the talk when it comes to independence, but it doesn't really want independence. It's quite happy with the status quo and with its position as being the party that's fighting for independence. I believe that at the top echelons of the SNP, they possibly don't even want independence at all, knowing that it would actually make the country worse and make them poorer. And they're only as well off as they are financially because of the position of fighting for independence. If they actually achieved what they wanted, they would have no reason to exist. What would the SNP be for if they had independence? Or the other parties would fill that vacuum. The SNP would become worthless, useless. They'd look at what they'd done and just nobody would vote for them. Okay, thanks, you've given us independence now, but look at the mess you've made. No, we'll get someone else in an independent Scotland that's going to make Scotland better. And they know that. And that's why they talk the talk, but don't walk the walk. Anyway, they're saying a new fate. This is where they're talking about Kate Forbes. They're saying a new face is required rather than a retread of a previous failure. And boy, does he fail. He's another one of those serial failures who fails at everything. And now he thinks he's going to walk into the top job having failed at everything, just like Hamza, and make a marvellous go of it. And everything will work and everything will be right this time and everyone will be happy. Of course they won't. This is John Swinney. And of course he's very brave in putting himself forward like this. Anyway, the next leader must be prepared to further independence to the downgrading of the so-called progressive route that exists as the priority of the leadership at present as a matter of urgency. Yeah, they keep pushing this. Oh, look at us, progressive, progressive, progressive. But what they call progressive is actually destructive. They're just too stupid to see it. We've got a progressive tax system. Change the word progressive and the word destructive and it's more accurate. We've got a destructive tax system. Yes, we are driving the forces of wealth creation, of innovation, of experience, of knowledge. We're driving away professors, we're driving away engineers, we're driving away senior doctors because they don't want to be taxed to smithereens to cover up our incompetence in running an economy. And off they go. And Scotland is left worse for it. But they'll try and put a spin on it, but it doesn't wash, does it? They said that this is not reactionary. This call for independence rather than progressiveness. Said it's not reactionary, but merely realising voters' priorities. Voters want roads fixed. They want hospitals that work. They want schools educating their children. You're getting none of that with the old guard, because all they can do is pump out brochures and send people around the world first class. Address the aspirations of the majority rather than prioritising those of minorities. Couldn't say it myself. Just look and pitch to your audience. I reckon more people care about things like education and health and roads than care about making sure that Johnny is known as Susan now and that Susan can piss in a lady's toilet. The old guard, they say, have had their day. New faces and new brooms are required. The same relatively old faces being regurgitated does not impress potential voters. Continuity has failed. Radicalism is required. Well said. Well said. And who would ever see that coming from the bloody National? And there he is. Yesterday's failure, set and hoping to become tomorrow's failure. It's like shoving a turd back up your arse to shit it out again, isn't it? Coming up. Now, for such a thing as that to be seen in the National, I think it's unprecedented. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. Are the National going to go with Forbes? If that's the case, then Swinney is already in deep, deep trouble if he can't even convince the National that he's the best man for the job. What hope does he have? I think he needs to start considering his position. If you can't convince the mouthpiece of the SNP, then you ain't going to convince anyone. Anyway, I'll stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and I will speak to you later. Bye. Unbelievable.